talking about Jimmy something, Jimmy Witherspoon.
Nobody knew who he was.
Lewis.
Jimmy.
Who's this Jimmy?
Lewis.
Nobody knew who he was.
Lewis.
Who's this Jimmy?
Lewis.
Lewis.
Who's this Jimmy?
just kept on doing.
Okay, welcome to this
exciting episode of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. I was going to go live on the Instagrams. I think I'm going to do it anyways. Why not? What do I have to lose? This show is a motorcycle and motorcycle product related show. We answer your questions about whatever you want to do, dirt bikes, life in general, things like that. My name is Jimmy Lewis. I am the host of this particular show. I'm the only person in the studio. I'm pushing all the buttons by myself, making things work, and I just had a really weird experience because there's been something I've been trying to get all these buttons to do forever, and it started, some of the sound came through like I wanted it to, and I didn't do anything. I'm like, oh God, what did we break tonight? So it was just something else that was playing in another thing that's connected to something. There's a lot of wires around here. If you've been in here, you would know. So welcome to the show tonight. The show is brought to you by Yamaha and a host of other sponsors that aren't paying their bills because they never got them. So if you are looking to sponsor the show, just send bags of cash because that's how we word it. And I'm being told that my wardrobe people are working for me to make me look better. I just got a message. And Matt Park says, hey, Jimmy Lewis Riding School. That's me. Well, was me. That's a I got to fix that website. It still says we do that school stuff, but I don't. He has a question. Are you a fan of funnel web air filters? So, Matt, I have used those before. I have, I don't want to say I don't have an opinion on them. I've never done anything like back to back to determine whether they work better or worse. I mean, they definitely have more surface area than other filters. The ones that I use seem to work like most filters. If a properly oiled filter is going to keep the dirt out, and it did, I would want to go put it to the test, really see what it does in like silt and how it reacts in mud and different things like that. So, nice for Garvins. He says, I need to get a razor sponsor. You're right. You got anybody in mind? Because the problem is if I had a razor sponsor, I would have to actually use it. So, anyways, Climb is a sponsor. They don't make razors, though. They just make really awesome gear, and their casual wear is really nice. So if you want to get some really nice, the material they use in some of their stuff is really good, kind of like their gear. And I'm a big fan. I'm not wearing them now, but I have some Climb pants, just casual, like kind of they look a little bit like Carhartts to a sense, but they're super comfortable. So check out climb.com if you want to get some of that stuff. And maybe we have discount codes for some stuff, but I'm not going to give that away. You're going to have to pay a little bit more attention there. And the Shabos Goy says, I look like a K&N type of guy. What is a K&N type of pleats, like wrinkled? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. I didn't know I was a K&N type of guy. We don't have, like I said, we don't have a ton of questions, so I'm really going to rely on you guys to keep us going. Oh, they're owned by Polaris Razor. Got it, my 1090R. So, but anyways, back to the funnel web air filters. No definitive opinion. Nothing negative about them, though, the ones that I've had in bikes. I know Trevor has run them in some of our 24-hour bikes before that we raced at the 24 Hours of Glen Helen. So we do have some experience, and like he would give the bike back to me and have a dirty air filter in it. So that's how I knew. And I think the Cove that we rode back from Washington had a funnel air filter in it, and it was fine. But we don't really ride in the dust all that much when we're doing that stuff. Michael Cloak says, are you coming to Crane Hot Springs this weekend to ride some road books? And the answer is no. I'm not going any place that I know of this weekend. probably thanks to my wife, I have a slightly scratchy throat. But she told me, this is a direct quote, drink tequila. So I will. I will. I may not be doing anything this weekend if I get what she got. I think. I don't know. But I got a tequila bottle here. I'll show it here on the emergency cam as well, so you can see. Emergency cam does not appear to be working. That's not good. How did that happen? See, I told you there was a problem with this show somehow or another. And For Garvin says, is Cove building a motocross bike? Yes, they have been for like a year or two now. I don't know if I haven't ridden one. I know some guys that have ridden. I'm pretty sure it's going to be still a little bit down in performance, but I have seen some pictures on the internets of some, we'll call them not Japanese or not European brands. So that would be Chinese-ish, with some really good-looking stuff. And it looks like it's its own stuff. Like a Cove is its own bike. When they copy a lot of stuff, shapes, different things like that. But when you start getting into it, you start, that motor, that's not the bike looks like a KTM knockoff, but it's not. You look inside, that motor is kind of a standard motor that's been running around the knockoff, we'll call it, brands for a little bit while. The bottom end, and sometimes they do something different with the top end. And somebody says Trevor is riding good. I have no idea. I could smoke him still. I know that. And the Shabos Goy says, Jimmy, do you Z tie or wire tie the spokes? I do neither. I mean, for a while in score racing, you had to zip tie the spokes or wire tie the spokes. I have done it before, usually when it was mandated by some regulation, but I didn't find any advantage to doing that. I think it was, I have no idea why that was a regulation. Like, sometimes when I see tech inspections, I see a lot of really goofy things that are required, and stuff that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. The regulations were, I don't know, but some of them, it's important. But like a lot of times when they're doing this thing, like the helmet certifications and stuff. I see them require helmet certifications, and the person that obviously is abiding by the rules is probably mandated by their insurance company to have some sort of specification, so they won't get in trouble when something goes down, because they're not picking the best helmet certification to say that your helmet has to meet the certification. And then some helmets that are better helmets are actually precluded, and sometimes it takes a little while to get a helmet certified, and then good people are wearing other kinds of helmets. So that's my take on wiring the spokes. How does that thing? And he wants to know, who are my top 3 for Paula? What's Paula? Is that a race? So the one thing we don't really talk about much on the show is like racing and all that race stuff. We're more of a technical thing. So if you want to know about motorcycle products, motorcycle questions, why your bike runs like crap, you want to know how to give your bike more power, I can answer that question almost immediately. And I am excited to watch some motocross racing. I got man, the Supercross season was really good, but I got bored of watching the same jump, hoops, jump, turn, jump, hoop. After I'm about 3 months, I kind of want to watch some different riding styles and things like that. So, ready for motocross. You can ask me about Formula One too, and I don't know anything about that either. BK Frick says, do you think Beta will make a off-road bike with the new 250F engine, a 300F possible? I suspect, because since Beta is kind of largely an off-road company, they would want to do that. That would be something that they would definitely do. I think because the majority of their riders are off-road riders, although they're having a lot of success with some of their motocross bikes. They're a smaller company, so success is kind of skilled. Like Honda wouldn't even blink at what Beta is interested in, for instance. And I think KTM is almost to that point now as well, where they're a little careful about, which models they bring a certain number of, stuff like this. But would Beta bring a 300 2.0? I don't know why any manufacturer that's starting with an all-new platform wouldn't consider having the ability of a 250 to be also a 350 or a 300, like a larger displacement bike. Because I think the 350 is a very good ideal size engine, and I'm still surprised that our favorite brand, Yamaha sponsors of the show, does not have a 350. Although I'm going back east to ride something in July? Yeah, no, late June. I don't know what it is. I think I signed a non-disclosure agreement, but they haven't told me anything, so I don't know anything. But you can always hope, because if Yamaha, if that engine architecture was big board properly, that would be a really good thing. So, yeah, I think a 300F is possible with that. And so, who knows? But the reason I would make it buildable up to the 350 is, here's the problem. Here's why they don't. Because if you're trying to go for every last ounce of weight, and we're going to learn in 2 days how important weight is to some manufacturers now, you will see that if you overbuild a 250 motor, then it's going to suffer a weight penalty, because there's a durability thing that you have to do when you make 15 to 20% more power. So this is, it depends on what you're trying to build and how much, the days of building like a single platform, like when you look at, well, I'll just use Husaberg for an example, because I know these things. You look at their engine platform, and it was the same cases and the same everything. It was the same bike, whether it was a 350 or a 400 or a 450 or a 500 or a 501 or a 600 or 650. Exactly the same bike, just different cranks and cylinder liners, and sometimes the cylinder height was a little bit different depending on what they were trying to do. But yeah, that's it. The shop was like, did you ever put a nickel inside of your grips back in the day? Yes, because I read like a dirt bike magazine, and they said it was the way to keep the ends of the grips on, and that was back when I was a kid. And I would like to tell you that on my XR80, on my sand berm track, that I was dragging the handlebars in the sand, because God knows I saw a picture once of like probably Kenny Zart doing it, right? Maybe Jimmy Hawley. I don't know. One of those guys just dragging the handlebar. And I'm like, I had to do that. So I tore a lot of grips off, but not by dragging it on the dirt where I continued to ride. It usually was a go crash sort of a thing. So, yeah. So we're seeing some stuff. Anyways, got other questions. Yeah, David Pott says opening round of the Outdoor Nationals, but you know that. Yeah, I do. Matt Parks says, JL, do you ever think the Dakar Rally will go back to North Africa? Ever? My opinion is the rally hasn't been the same since it has been in Saudi, in my opinion. I don't think the rally is the same ever, depending on the places it goes, for sure. Will it ever go back to North Africa? I don't know or think so. So right now the Eco Rally goes in North Africa. The Eco Rally traces the classic Dakar route, along the western coast, Morocco, Western Sahara, and then they go down into Senegal. And I don't know if they go into they have to go through Mauritania, but I don't know if they go into Mali or some of the other countries that are inland. But a good friend of mine is going to go do that next year. So I told him if he needs, I didn't say this. I didn't say if he needs a water boy. I said if he wanted to be my water boy, he could figure out a way to get a whole bunch of sponsors, and then I would go. But that's being kind of, yeah. So let's see, and some guy named JB Black, who may have written this book right here, Coffee Brewed with a Graveyard Mist. Where's that camera? Which camera is that one? Is that one there? Yeah, that camera up there. Says Supercross is called Dirty Bounce House. So, yeah, sounds good. Glenn Williams. Hey, Glenn, good to see you. Glenn, of course, he's going to ask a Kawasaki question because that's what he does. Hey, Jimmy, what is a good dual sport tire that works in deep sand? I just inherited a Gen 1 KLR. Well, since Pirelli helps me out, I'm going to say the Pirelli mid-soft is a really good tire, but it's not a dual sport tire. They make an MT21 that will hardly ever wear out. That's a good tire, but not necessarily in deep sand. You really don't want a dual sport tire. You want what we call a DOT knobby. And the reason we want to do that is because the knobby will last just fine on the pavement. How much are you really going to ride on the pavement? Hey, that first gen KLR, you're going to learn how to. Is it a kickstart? Because if it's a kickstart, you're really going to learn how to kickstart. And then when it gets hot, that's a whole different thing. So I never got into my tequila. Here it is, my Los Sundays tequila. The problem is my phone holding stand, which I have right here, holding the live on the Instagrams. By the way, I'm going to clip you guys pretty soon. The Instagram, your attention span is very short. And if you want to watch the show, it's live right now on our Facebook and or our YouTube channel. That's where you can go see the whole thing. It is, frankly, the show gets worse and worse. Here, let me have a little bit of tequila just to prove it. I am going to start a tequila podcast, and I'll probably shave for my first show. So that's what we do. This tequila, by the way, my wife, somebody gifted this tequila to her, and because she said my husband has a podcast where he drinks tequila. It's bottle number 4, so it's a Blanco. I'm pretty sure because it says right there Blanco. I was going to give it the smell test, which the Blancos aren't not really that much smell, but I am a self-proclaimed tequila risto. No, I actually drank 250 different kinds of tequila. It's certified. If you want to go down to Ramiro's Bar in Pahrump, Nevada, you can see my plaque on the wall. So let's see. Glenn says not much, and it's got a button. So that's not the first gen, Glenn. I think the early KLRs were the Gen 1 is what I would refer to, had a Kickstarter, and then they kind of got the electric starter. But if you just got the button, then they figured out the starting by then. But the old ones used to run pretty damn hot, and they started fine when they were cold, but it seemed like when they got hot, they didn't work. So deep sand tire, yeah, I'm thinking you might want to look at some of the rally spec tires. So those are pretty good, but there was a brand I used to do a lot of stuff with. They had a really good DOT knobby. I can't remember. Gosh, I wish I could remember their name. That's what happens when you get clipped. Yeah, send me an email. I'll throw you some specs. But why do you need a dual sport? Do you really need the DOT stamp? Are you planning on getting a ticket? That's the question. So okay, I'm going to try my tequila here, and hopefully it works on a little bit of throat. Wow, that one's flowery, and it's got a good burn. I like it. I like most tequilas. This isn't bad. I'm gonna have to. Hey, it says right here, and I didn't read this until right now. Bright, fresh, and crisp with multiple layers of agave. That is That's an excellent description. I wish I would have said that before I read that, but that's what it is. Okay, so good to see everybody on the Instagrams or whatever this is, this platform here. I'm going to go back and start answering the questions that I have over here on the Facebooks and the YouTube. So if you have a question, go ahead and type it in. If you have my number, you can go ahead and call in live to the show, and I will answer your question. And or I'll just make stuff up, or I'll just drink more tequila. It doesn't matter. So bye. See you. Hey, Cody, how's it going? I see you on the thing. I can do all these things, wave, but then I'm ignoring my main show, which is over here. And it was just an insta-bang for you guys. So we will see you on the next time I show you the show before the show. See ya. I'm ending this now. I should make a post. People liked it. I got a thumbs up. I wish that came with dollar signs, but yeah, it doesn't. So we'll go back to the wide shop. I don't have a ton of stuff here, but I would like to tell you that I have been reaching out to. I'm actually looking for suggestions. By the way, I'm looking for a little bit of help on. We have some sponsors that want to sponsor a segment, and there's some that like of course there's Roosterendo, brought to you by Taco Moto. Everybody knows that one, and if you don't know that one, that's where you send us a picture of your bike. You tell us a little bit about your bike, and then we, whoever it is, me and myself and we, and sometimes you. Well, last time you guys totally decided the winner. We decide the one that gives us the most enjoyment, and that person gets a $100 gift certificate from Taco Moto. That's tacomoto.co. So check them out, especially if you need stuff for your like KTM, Husky, Gas. They're really good at that, but they're also branching into Hondas. I see Mike riding around a lot of Hondas. He had what did he have there last time? Oh, he had some Triumphs. He was doing some Triumph stuff. So check them out for all of your bolt-on and modification needs. Fuel pumps, fuel filters, all kinds of stuff like that. So good to see everybody in the chat. I got to have more of this. This is pretty good. It'll make the show go downhill as well. So if you have some ideas on the a segment or something like that. So I have one. I'll just throw one out here. So I wrote it down. I have to look at my thing here. I have to look here. Oh, that could be a problem. I lost my notes. I'll get it back. Oh, that's the wrong. Oh, it's the wrong screen. I gotta close that. This one here. How did that happen? Oh, well, that's what happens when you don't have a producer. You just make mistakes constantly. There, I lost it. Okay. So, Bulletproof Designs. How about this? You broke it, you buy it. Because that's what really happens. If you break it, you buy it. And my thought is you could send us a picture of your destroyed parts, tell us a little story about it, and then maybe we get you a little Bulletproof Designs help to get your bike fixed back up. Or, even better, you would use some of their parts to prevent the damage that you caused. So, check it out. It could be a new segment. I'm getting some Bulletproof Design parts for my bike as soon as I put my order in here real soon, because I want to protect one of my bikes before I go out and use it aggressively, if that's what we're calling it these days. And Michael Patrick Garvin says, "What's up, Mark?" Oh, hi. I'm not Mark, but hi. What's up? The price of gas is up. That's right. So, yeah, I didn't know that the Crane Hot Springs, which is that is the Giant Loop ride, is this weekend. I didn't know that. That's probably going to be a pretty good time of year to be going and doing that. I should check that in. Gary Drummond checks in with a Taco Tuesday, a logo and a Taco Tuesday. Thank you, Gary. And Mark Schneider. Hey, Mark. I know Mark. Mark probably would be going to Crane Hot Springs. Maybe. I don't know. That's up in his neck of the woods. So maybe I should send him there as a cub reporter. I don't know. Mark, I want to do the ride with your smoke jumper buddies this year. I know you said that may not do it, or maybe the last year. I would like to do that this year. So I'm going to go do some super top secret event. Not really an event. It's just some super top secret thing. Yeah, someplace that I can't talk about, but a pretty fun ride coming up here. And it wouldn't be possible without, let's see. My wife supports me in the lifestyle I've become accustomed to. It wouldn't be possible without Climb, because I'm going to wear Climb gear. So no matter whether it rains or it's nice, yeah, different. They've got the right kind of gear. They got base layers, which you don't need that much anymore, although they have some stuff that's like moisture wicking that is really good. And the new XC Pro gear, it feels like you're not wearing anything, like it's that light, but at the same time, it has pretty good like protection as far as like, you know, puncture and I haven't really crashed with it as far as like slid on the ground and stuff, but I've bumped into some things and it feels so light, it feels like it just wouldn't hold up, and it's holding up. So I rode it through my punji stick forest and didn't tear the jersey, which is usually good. Crazy Mark is going to the Unrally at the Alvarad. I don't know what that is. There's an emoji that didn't come through on the thing. So if you're on Facebook right now, I'm pretty sure you're a little bit behind. There seems to be a pretty good delay with the Facebook feed at the moment, and I'm not really sure how YouTube is going. I didn't check on that. Although I got to thank my buddy Jeremy, who gave me way faster Wi-Fi's. So evidently, all of my problems should be fixed. Although I'm looking at my sound meter right now, and I notice that it's a little bit low. But yeah, I could push some buttons later. I'll fix it in post. If you're listening to it live, just turn the volume up, and then when you switch back over, like, you know, your wife comes over and you're like watching this, and you switch over to your regular channel and it just blasts out, just tell her it's not porn. You're good. Got a question here. Let's see. Secret ride must be in California with all the stinking fun police. No, actually, it's not. It is not in California. I'll tell you that. And then Street Sweeper says, I wouldn't hesitate to go with the Pirelli MT21's front and rear any day of the week, including be able to do the gnarliest sand washes in San Felipe. 21 PSI up front, 15 in the rear. So, yeah, the Pirelli MT21s, and run, if you're going to do the MT21, get the 90 front, not the 80 front. Get the 90, the wider one, because the 80 one's tiny. The other one's bigger, and the knob spacing is just a little bit wider. But and I would never run that much tire pressure up front for sure. I'm more of a 12 and 12 go around the rocks kind of guy, or I just run mooses and don't worry about it. But yeah, the MT21s, if you have ridden some really good tires, and I've ridden almost every tire from every brand over the course of my many years of doing this, the MT21s just do not provide the kind of like the bite, the turning performance, the braking performance. It's just not a 10/10ths tire. It is kind of more in the middle. Like, I'm going to say it's around a 70% tire. But the one thing that thing is good at, aside from durability, is consistency. And it's consistently consistent at being 70% even when it wears down. So some people like that. There's some tires, and the good thing is it does wear. And that's a good thing, because there are some other tires that are worse than the Pirelli as far as performance. They're D-rated tires in my world that just don't wear out. And they look like they're good. They don't work worth a crap. And then you just don't even want to take them off because they look like they're good. And then you get used to it, and then you wonder why your bike works like crap. Because the tires are the thing that's connecting you to the ground, and probably one of the most important things on your bike. Hey, Holmes. Victor. Hey, what's up? Yeah, so that's my question. That'll answer the thing. But even on the Pirellis, I mean I feel like they can easily be run down at lower pressures because it does have a pretty good sidewall. It's pretty stiff on the MT 21s. Why was I thinking MT18? The Gara Cross. That's the other Pirelli. That's a pretty good. That's a meaty rear tire. So, hey Victor, what do you think of Los Sundays, bro? I got to figure out why my other camera's not working. You don't get the little one, but here it is. Los Sundays. This is my new one today. Thank you to my wife's friend that gave that to us. I might even drink a Johnny Campbell beer tonight. I forgot to drink it last week on the show, but yeah, Terraflex tires. Those were frankly horrible. They were A, super heavy. B, they had the gnarliest carcass known to man, and C, they didn't get very good traction. And maybe if the ground was wet and everything was good, you would say, oh, they work okay. But the weight of those things was astronomical. And Michael says, yeah, sorry about that. The Giant Loop ride is at Crane Hot Springs. I made some road books for it, Northwest road books. There are several from easy beginner to more difficult. Too bad you aren't coming. The conditions will be perfect. It is raining right now. Yeah, nothing to say I can't go there, I guess. I was going to do something else, but I don't know. Schedule's pretty loose right now. I had some free time open up, if you know. But hey, another potential company coming on, Tugger, the Tugger strap. So if you're like me, when you ride your Husaberg, you want to make sure that you have something in your pocket that can fix the problem that you're not going to be able to fix out on the trail. So the Tugger strap. Interesting story. Probably about 20 episodes ago, my buddy Jimmy Tyler's in here with his buddy Link, and we had to tow Link out, and we completely destroyed one of these. I think there was some bad towingmanship. I'm gonna blame myself because I was doing some of the towing, and then Jimmy was doing some of the towing. In fact, he did some of the towing. I don't know who really broke the thing, but he did ride up to me with half of a tow rope. Half of that tow rope, not this one, but one of them. And I said, hey, where's Link? And he looked behind him and he was kind of surprised. So, yeah, you just have to see all the different shows. Yeah, the Terraflex will keep the bike going straight even when you wanted to turn. This is this is correct. And it's amazing that when you ride it through hoops, the tire is so heavy and it bounces that it actually like doubles the amplitude of the hoop. No kidding. So, Street Seeper has a question. Anything less than 21 PSI in the front with an oversized fuel tank, you will destroy your wheel after hitting some baby heads. Yeah, it depends on how you hit them. I mean, there's the ones that you hit that yeah, it's going to destroy things for sure, but it shouldn't be that bad. So I'm just thinking if you're expecting tire pressure to help your rim when whacking baby heads, which are basically rocks the size of a baby head that are embedded into the ground or bigger. You could be hitting human heads, and you can be hitting like cow heads, and then maybe even elephant heads. I don't know which size, but the baby heads are the ones that maybe they're small enough to where you don't see them. If you're hitting those things and you're only worried about your rim getting dented, I hope you have really good insurance, like for the doctor, if you know what I mean. Now we're getting in trouble. Barium tire still got it on the old Barium tire. Got it on the old TT500. Okay, says Dave Ritter, T7X, and then Victor says Victor suggests that we look for the word Tugger in the Urban Dictionary. Okay. I was just referring to the thetugger.com strap. If you need one of these, and they have I don't want to talk about the warranty because the warranty is frankly incredible. You have to read your receipt and you see what the warranty is, and it's like, oh, yeah, I've done the Matomi wash also. So I try to go around a lot of those rocks, and if I'm going to hit them, I hit them in a way that I'm not going to die. And denting my rim is two percentage points down from dying, I think. The bikes these days, it's amazing what they will just go straight over as long as you're straight and loose on the bike and in balance, which I try to be. But Mike Patrick says it's time for another shot. Well, I'm not even done with this one. My drinking problem is that I drink a little bit too slow. So maybe you have a time for another shot. Are you guys playing the thing where if I say a certain word, you have to do a shot? Because I haven't said the word yet, but I can. Husaberg. There we go. For all those that are out there. And then Chris Reel says he ran a Terraflex on my XR500 back in the day. It was not good, but it looked cool. Absolutely. The Terraflex looked like a mean mother when it was on a bike. I had a big ass. It like IRC M5B comes to mind. You know, when you see this just big knob, the paddle-ish center, knob, and the Terraflex even had like a scoop to it from what I remember. So yeah, time for another shot. Drink slow and ride fast. Yeah, actually, yeah, I think that's a good thing. I needed to go. I should have gone riding today. The wind is howling out here today, so I was a little discouraged. I started projects and did a lot of searches on the internet for vintage tractor parts. Yep, I have some problems. So we are going to do a Roosterendo tonight, brought to you by Taco Moto. I'm still looking for extra segments. If you know a segment I should do on this show, like maybe the bulletproof "you broke it, you buy it" segment that I haven't invented yet. We used to have the Seat Concepts Hot Seat Hotline when we used to have a phone and a producer in here. Over there, we used to have a guy that would be able to take the calls, but they actually have to sit a long ways away from you because they're actually talking and it would make the sound bad. Or, I mean, not bad, but worse than it is now, worse than my sound is. So we had that. And there's a couple other, I had some ideas at some point, but I forgot them. So now it's up to you guys to tell me what you would like to hear more of on this show instead of me just babbling endlessly. I looked on the Facebooks for some questions that people, let's see. Listen to that. See, that was the sound. So that's my show sound, right? That gets me a copyright violation every single time, by the way, too, even though I paid for the rights to use that unlimited. But I still get tagged by AI. How come Google can know everything? And I've submitted probably, at least 500 copyright claim disputes where I win, but it's just a pain in the ass. How come they don't know that I own the frickin' rights to use that? So, anyways, that's what happened when I started the show up. Is I checked my feed on the Facebooks, and that sound came up, and I'm like, "Hey, what? Wow, it's working!" Because I can hear what's going out. Because I can't hear what goes out. I only hear what comes in. And anyways, that's technical difficulties that you don't need to be impressed with. So. Hey, what? I went it's working because I can hear what's going out. See, I can check myself right there on the Facebooks. I was looking at some some of the different forums, but every single question has been answered by 50 other experts. So you don't need me on the Facebooks. I hardly go there anyways. I like at least once a week to check, to see what's going on. And it's kind of crazy because some of the answers that are delivered there are... I talked about it on the last show, by the way. I talked about why AI recommended that Jeremy put water in his oil to make it a little bit lighter, because that's what AI read, and AI doesn't know the difference. So lots of questions there, but I didn't see any that really needed too much discussion. We helped a couple people decide on what kind of bikes to buy, but yeah, that's it. So how about updating the current rally? Preston is on it. So yeah, Chris, I will tell you that let's see, Daniel Sanders is feeding it to everybody in a way that's ridiculously impressive, and when he is going that much faster than the best riders in the world, like this day was a really short stage and he put 5 minutes on everybody, and from the front he opened, so I could see maybe the second place guy getting caught in the dust or something like that, but not when the guy in front of you is 5 minutes in front. You can't use that excuse all day. And so he's on another level. So yeah, Preston today moved into the lead of the Rally 2 class, but Preston's been doing his homework. He's been training, working on road books, slowly, he has a plan, like a good racer should. He has a plan on attainable improvements and stuff. I don't think his bike is as good as some of the other bikes that he's racing against. So there's a little bit there, but it's a great way to be able to learn. And yeah, he's on it. He's very consistent and good with his navigation. So yeah, Preston's doing good. I think he's top 10 today, and doing well. But yeah, we don't talk about racing here, do we? Oh, we have racers on. We talk about it. Victor says, "Nah, you really need to have a dirty news section." Or a section about closures and what the Blue Ribbon is doing on events, etc. So is that dirty news? Is that about the closures? Or is dirty news like kind of the stuff that you put up there where you might need to go get a tugger afterwards? Don't know. Ashley finally got out of the hospital, Jimmy. Will be doing a long recovery before I can ride. What I learned from the crash is don't sleep on the header pipe or it'll burn a hole in the muscle on your leg. Yeah. So I have a video of Ashley someplace around here. I wonder if I still have that on the I don't know where it is. Watch video, maybe? Nope, that looks kind of an empty blank screen. There's photos from our last guest. What about this? No, that's a different thing. The emergency camera doesn't work. We'll have to fix that later. Yeah, I don't know where. I thought I had it in Rooster Endo, and I'm not seeing it in there either. So I can't show your video, Ashley, where you're doing the cartwheel into the snowbank. But since we called up the Rooster Endo screen, welcome to Rooster Endo, brought to you by Taco Moto. That's tacomoto.co. So if you guys don't ask me a lot of questions while I'm working on this segment, I'm going to shut this show down early tonight because that's what I can do. Right after I have a little bit more, I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna go back to the Ragosa. I really like this. This is a vintage Ragosa tequila that I managed to pick up last time I was down there. This is a Reposado. I might reach over and grab some of the double Reposado I got over there as well. So if you wonder how Rooster Endo works, you send us a picture of your bike. You send it to jimmy@dirtbiketest.com. Send us a picture of your bike. We take that picture. I put it into this show somehow or another. And then you tell me a little bit about the bike. So here is Rooster Endo. So this is last week's runner-up at Rooster Endo, which basically means the first loser. And this is Rob Bob. And this is not Rooster Endo, but Rob had the worst picture known to man of his bike. And so I'll show you it right here. That's something different, but this is, I got to figure out why that there's something else. It's a blob on the ground. This was the picture that Rob Bob sent to us for his Roosterando submission. By the way, Seat Concept Seat. Hopefully they'll be a sponsor of the show in the near future. This is not a very good quality. Climb Gear in the background. That's a sponsor of this show. And the plastic is blue. Yamaha is a sponsor of this show. They bring this show to you, and you can enjoy it. So that's not how you win Roosterando. But Rob Bob did send in a picture while the show was going because he wanted to work on his mistake. He sent a picture of me holding a checkered flag because at the Nora Nora's Baja, I was the flag girl, which is probably the only job I could handle anymore. So thank you, Rob Bob, for sending that picture in. Maybe you would have been the winner with that photo because this other photo is definitely that's not how you win Roosterando. But if you are Jimmy Lopez, you have a 1998 PW50. Okay, so I'm already seeing a problem. The other thing you need to send in is you have to put Roosterando in the subject line when you send it in. And you also need to, for sure, you need to say year, make, and model. So yeah, year, you skip the make, and then model. So luckily, I do know what a PW50 is. It's a Yamaha. It says so right on the seat. So this is a 1998 PW50. He says this bike arrived at Santa's workshop as a 1998 PW50. That's amazing that it didn't transform because I know with the kids these days that stuff is going on. It said that had been well used and a little beat up. After a couple months at the North Pole, Santa restored this thing into a stock-looking 1993 PW50 for my daughter for Christmas. And I was hoping he was going to say daughter because the pink, that's hot pink. And I like it. Plastics, powder-coated parts, OEM-style custom graphics, tires, mooses. What? How do you get? I have questions. Mooses, carb clean, new cables, seat cover, new bars and grips, new throttle, ignition switch, etc. He says thanks. Well, that thing is sweet, and that's a Yamaha, which that gives you I think Yamaha gives you 5 to 6 bonus points just by being a Yamaha for sure. So yeah, and Matt Merlute says, I still can't believe I lost to that. I don't understand that one. You lost to what? To Rob Bob's bike? I'm not sure. That you didn't lose to that, I don't think. Okay. So PW50, this thing is sweet. He restored it to a stock bike with some custom graphics. If I was his daughter, I would be super stoked. He says he put new grips on it, and this is something that I was curious about because the PW has these little teeny tiny grips, but I think he went to bigger bars. They look kind of big. So were you building this bike so you could ride it around or what? I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to tell you you lost to Rob Bob last week. I thought, do we have 2? I thought we only had 2 last week. Oh no, I see you here. I got you. You were this. I thought you won. Who won last week? I don't even see. Or did we give it to Rob Bob? Did he win? I forget. Maybe you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe he did win, or because I don't know if I sent it back into Takamoto. I don't know if I told them what was going on. So, anyways, this is our Roosterando submission this week, and because it's the only one we got, and it's a Yamaha, it automatically wins. So, Jimmy Lopez, you don't even have to be in the chat right now. You are the winner of Takamoto's Roosterando, of course, brought to you by Takamoto and Yamaha. You're going to get a $100 gift certificate, but here's the caveat. You might not know this. Rob won. Okay. See, that's how much I remember. I tell you, every time I do this show, when I walk out of this room, I forget everything that happened on this show. It's the truth, and I don't ever watch it back. So Rob Bob won last week. Okay, you should have won. What was I thinking? I don't know if he sent me he probably did send me the email. That's when I got that photo. He did send. Yeah, that's right. He probably did send the photo in, and then I forwarded it over. So don't worry, Matt. You can submit again, and just change the angle of the bike. Get a really good photo of the bike next time, and then somehow like cleverly word in there that you got beat by Rob Bob last time, and then that maybe you'll get some bonus points or something for doing that. Those are huge pegs on that PW. They are. That's a good catch. Those are huge pegs. I'm gonna zoom in and take. Look at those. Well, maybe she's an adventure bike rider because that's a big thing in the smart adventure bike riders. Look at the knobs on that thing too. Some of the tires you can get for those little bikes are crazy. They're actually so aggressive they bog it down. But nice. So okay. We are going to move right along. Well, it's not all good, Matt. You've got to resubmit. I mean, think about it. You would have a 50% chance of winning, and there's no way we're going to take candy out of the baby's mouth by you get second place again. That's just the way this thing works. So on to my next little shot of tequila there. And by the way, if you're listening to this in a podcast format where you can't see the photos, sometimes we do a pretty good job of describing what's up on the screen. Other times we don't. And the Woodshop bike stand gives bonus roost points. So the Woodshop bike stand. Oh, that was in a different one. I had to look because the PW comes with a center stand. So that was all taken care of there. The pegs. Oh, JDL Racing. Is that JDL? Jimmy Lopez? Okay, yeah, you won. Did you know this? Or are you jumping in late to the show? And if you're riding a YZ125, you should have thrown that in there someplace because then we kind of we're brothers in the 125 race there. So pretty good. So send me an email, reply to your email, remind me that you won because like I said, I'm going to forget. And then next time I get to my emails that I work in that business venture, I will make sure I forward it over to Takamoto and they will get you set up. Yeah. Oh, you only jumped in because you heard you won, right? Have all your friends join in and ask their questions because we're running a little bit show here. Trent Zimmerman, late here, but Bart from Tugger is a super nice guy. You're going to have him on as a guest. I would like to have him on as a guest. So yeah, Trent. Those guys, they came down and took my school a long time ago. Interesting guys. I think they came and supported us at Dirt Rider when we did our 24-hour as well. So yeah, pretty cool guys. We have a poster that says remove Trump U9V. I can't believe that there's that many remove Trumps out there that you have to put a code in the end. But anyways, he says, Jimmy, any chance of Yamaha making an electric start YZWR? Well, they already do. So sometimes the questions show the level of the user, I guess. I don't know. Yes, Yamaha makes an electric start YZWR. In fact, I have 2 of them. So I can prove it. If you want to, if you don't believe it, it's not fake news. It's the real shit. My bikes, my WRs both have. Now, if there's something I can bitch about Yamahas, and trust me, that the starting on the Yamaha fuel injected bikes is an area of contention with me. Like, I kind of thought I had it figured out, and the last time I went to a race, I didn't have it figured out. So bad, in fact, that my friend goes, how come you waited on the start line for everybody to go before you took off? Well, the real answer is because, I can't really lie or anything. Like, the real answer why I waited on the starting line for everybody to go is because I wanted to pass everybody to show them how fast my WR450 really is. So that's it. And I did. I passed a lot of people, and I got hit with a lot of rocks. Oh, and he's talking about the 2-stroke. Okay. Is Yamaha going to make an electric start YZWR? I don't know how YZ. So I should have inferred that it was YZFWR would have been the 4-stroke. Yeah. So, okay, a 2-stroke electric start WR. No chance in heaven, my friend. So I don't have any inside info on what's going on at Yamaha. But I could see them making a 2-stroke FX style bike like the YZ250X with an electric start and whatever other upgrades they decide to do that bike. But I don't have any rumors of that thing coming. I don't know why. I think Yamaha's in a pretty good place right now where they are able to get carburetors manufactured. That's the hardest part about keeping that bike is getting carburetors, because the companies that make carburetors don't make many carburetors anymore. But they have a source and they're able to get those. That's why some of the other brands started moving towards fuel injection a little bit quicker, because getting carburetors is difficult. So I could see that, if they did that, I would sure they would go electric start, but they're just trying to keep it simple. Less wires, less everything. It's easy. Jimmy Cromwell has a question. Okay. 2017 Husqvarna FE501 rear brake locked up and would not release. Was out riding and it was hot. What caused this, and how can I fix it so it doesn't happen again? Interesting, Jimmy. I can answer 9 out of 10 questions without referring to a reference manual, and I will guarantee you. Well, first of all, I just have a question. Are you do you ride the rear brake a little bit? Because this will help me give you a better solution. But I'll tell you one solution that you can do that will help a little bit. Fasst Company makes a really trick brake pedal spring dealy bob that works really good on those bikes. So just so you know, that's not going to fix the problem. So what you did more than likely was you had it adjusted so that the static position of the piston in the master cylinder was maybe partially or getting close to blocking the we'll call it the bleed off side of the master cylinder. So the way that this thing works is you have a piston that travels up and down inside of a cylinder. And when you release the brake pedal, the piston side there drops down below the lower hole, which allows the fluid that's in the reservoir and stuff to pass back and forth. So there's no pressure in the system at that point. And when you press on the pedal, that piston starts rising up. And as it rises up, it closes off that reservoir, the bleed hole, and then that's when the piston starts building pressure in the rest of the system. So what happens when it just kind of does is it starts getting hot and things expand, and then for some reason or another, that piston can't get past the hole to bleed it off. And it only takes a little teeny tiny bit. And sometimes, especially people that like running their brake pedal, will call it like lower without a lot of free travel in it. You have to be really careful because sometimes that starts closing that hole partially off. And I've seen it just when it could be something where you hit a rock or something with the pedal and it just jars everything and starts closing it off. Little things like this, or you just get it hot enough and it gets hot enough to where that the piston it swells and seals off the bleed hole, and then in the beginning it may just be lightly dragging the brake because there's not a lot of pressure, but as you constantly are pushing on it, you're building more and more pressure. And sometimes when you push on it, it lets a little bit in and you build more and more. And then there's the pressure actually causes the seal to swell. It gets hot and then it basically blocks it off. And then it does all of that. Okay, remove Trump is redeeming himself because he's getting on to the next thing I was going to talk about, the overfilled brake reservoir or brake reservoir without the ability to bleed. So I'll keep going here. So as the fluid expands, it slowly starts applying the brakes, which creates more heat, and then you have a bigger problem. Couple other things. So that's where I was going. Next thing was an overfilled brake reservoir that does a similar thing where the pressure starts building up from the heat, and then the breather holes that are in the cap do not let the fluid expand, and then the entire system, including the reservoir, becomes pressurized, and the same sort of thing happens. Next problem. Brake pins on the caliper are not lubed up properly. And so just in normal use, the caliper kind of floats over the disc rotor. And if it can't, one side of the brake pads, one side or the other kind of gets stuck and they drag constantly, produces heat, then that area swells up. And I've seen that get so hot that it actually causes the piston to seize in the inside of the caliper. Just the heat is so much for it, it seizes in the caliper, and then, heat makes more heat, problem gets worse, kind of a deal. So there is that. And the last and final thing is a bent disc rotor that will go in there and just aggravate everything, again, building heat, and then you get a problem from that. But generally, you would feel the bent disc rotor would kind of have some other symptoms. So let me know if any of that stuff. So what you want to do is go to your brake pedal, and if that happens, I'll tell you what to do if it happens. So go to your brake pedal, and you should feel some free play in there. There should be a little bit of free play, so that you know that piston is clearing its bleed hole, as it were. But if that happens, here's what you can do. You would go, and if you have the opportunity. So the first thing I usually do when I start having a problem is I try to back bleed the caliper. So I'll take my knee. I'm careful if it's really hot, then I'll use my foot, and I'll try to back bleed the caliper. So squeeze all the fluid out of the caliper and kind of blow it backwards. If that doesn't work, you've definitely got an obstruction in that system. It's not allowing you to do this. So that would be the first thing. If you can, at that point, you can just ever so slightly, while you're pressing on the caliper, crack the bleed hole, the drain, that's on the reservoir. Crack that thing, or if you have to, you can even crack one of the nuts in the line and have it go out. You might get some air, but if you pressurize it, you might not get that much air in there, but at least you can relieve the pressure and continue riding. And sometimes just relieving the pressure is enough to loosen the pressure up, and that piston frees up, or it allows the pressure inside the whole system to go away, and then it may start functioning. But usually it's heat. So yeah, give those things, pressing that pedal and see if you notice that it's tight. That's usually the number one culprit, or it was tight enough to where you just drug the brakes and got it. Okay. Let's see. Matt Juros 1066 says Honda XR650. I want to ease smaller teeth in rear sprocket for freeway riding. What gears do you recommend? Let's see. I see there's another XR650 question later, but I don't see. Okay, because I saw XR650. Oh, Drew Kelly just picked up 01 XR650. Any tips or essential mods? Well, if you want to ride it on the freeway, this is dirt bike test. My name is Jimmy Lewis. I ride dirt bikes. My XR650, I don't recall the gearing on it, but I think we're one up on the counter shaft for like faster Baja riding in the sand dunes and stuff. We were one up on the counter shaft and maybe a couple down on the rear, or maybe it was stock counter shaft and down 2 or 3 on the rear just to let it pull longer. But I don't know the gearing specifically for the freeway. I don't know how fast you ride on the freeway. Yeah, for the dirt, if you're trail riding, stock is best. If you're in Baja, take at least 2 teeth off the rear. that Vaporware Kawasaki two-stroke, did Kawasaki pull a fast one on all of us? I don't know that they pulled a fast one. I don't think what they built was what. I don't think they were happy with what they built, or it's not there yet. I don't know. It's these kind of things. Maybe the marketing department thought it was coming a little bit quicker than it was, and they wanted to slow down the sales of another brand's two strokes, or at least get people thinking about it. Who knows? I would love to hear the whole story when somebody can actually tell that to me, but I don't know that. Drew Kelly just picked up an 01 XR 650R. Any tips or essential mods? So I will tell you the one thing that I have learned about those bikes for sure is leave the stock header on the bike. Don't go with aftermarket headers. For some reason, they all break and fail. And generally, it's not real easy to fix. And, just out on the trail and stuff like that. And it's really problematic. I actually run the entire stock muffler. I just take the smallest pea shooter snorkel out of the back. And so that's what I was on mine, except I think it's still on there. I was running a Leo Vince system, which was really good because it was quiet. The problem is most of the pipes that people made for those things were just bazookas and loud and horrible, and they didn't help the power any. So yeah, I try to keep mine quieter. Be really careful with the filters on those things. That filter design is prone to suck dirt around the sides. So, and I found that the stock filters were indeed the best at, Honda had like a nice thick dual layer filter that kind of held itself. A lot of times when we went to aftermarket ones, I don't know, they shrink or they didn't really fit very good. The back, what else did I on those? I kind of just ran them stock most of the time. We had, did a little bit of suspension work here and there for different things. I know that going with a stiffer, lower triple clamp can really help the kind of just the precision of the handling. And it's a weird thing on that bike, precision handling, but that would help. And I don't know. That's really it. If you need another one, I have one that I'll sell you. So somebody actually already bought it, and I need to get him his money back, or he needs to come and pick up the bike, but he doesn't want it anymore, and I told him I didn't have the money anymore. So a brake rebuild kit necessary. We were talking after that brake overheated. Sometimes it depends on how hot it got. What did it do to the piston bands and stuff like that? The rubber parts would be the first things to get compromised. So it could be necessary. It really depends on where it is. And then our Trump guy, he says, when I was in a mud race, the brake lever jammed by a rock. Yes, I've seen that happen before. I've seen mud just get in there and pack in there, and hot mud on a side cover actually starting to dry and not allowing the brake pedal to return to its normal position. So yeah, I've seen that. Dave Ritter says, I had the rear brakes on a T7 and NAGP 650, both Brembo units locked up. Yes, and I will tell you that it is way more common on the Brembo units than any other unit I've used before. And I don't know exactly why. I haven't really looked into it. I was never that hard on brakes, but I have had it. I have had it happen before. And but when it did happen, it was what I said. I was overheating the brake, and I had such little free play in there. That was the reason. Here's another one. Old brake fluid turns into water, and it can expand and overheats and locks up. Yeah, I don't know that it actually turns into water, but it does absorb water, and water boils way quicker than brake fluid, and then it makes air in the line, and then the air expands, and then it causes locked up. Yeah, lots of variables on that. And Gary Drummond, a K/S big board thumper, kickstart. My knees ache just thinking about it. Well, my XR650 has a electric start kit on it. So there we go. I don't know how many more times it's going to work, but it does. It has a starter off of a Chevy big block 350, and it's spinning a little tiny XR650 motor, so it tends to be hard on itself. This stuff is helping my sore throat, I think. I might have to have more. But no time than the better time than the present to have a Johnny Campbell beer. Oh yeah. I'm going to get him to autograph this. I could have a contest where Johnny Campbell autographs this, and then we figure out. But you're supposed to give me segments for this show. It's what the whole reason I did this show was to have segments so I could go sell it to all my sponsors for millions and millions of dollars. But I'm going to get into another problem that a friend of mine had. I have this friend. We won't say his name is George, and we won't say that he's a quitter. We won't say those things because that would be, I guess, mean, and I'm not really into being mean. But my buddy George rides this. Now, first of all, his picture is about as good as Rob's picture from last week of his Vespa scooter. Well, he claims he's riding it, but obviously he's not even riding this. He does have a really nice sticker on it, though, allegedly. That I've heard that sticker right there is somewhat of a collector's item. So just so you know, designed by none other than Jerry Bernardo. And I could read some poetry tonight, maybe from this book here called Written in Scars. I could maybe read something from that. He's got a new book out, by the way. I'm going to get him back on the show, but he's anti-podcast at the moment, especially mine. But if we come up with enough money with all these sponsor segments that you guys are supposed to be working on, I could afford to bring him in here. It would be, will that beer make you ride better? Victor, good question. So back to George's problems, which are many, but we're going to work on this. So this is George's Vespa. He calls me up and he says, my Vespa, blah, 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 doesn't run, surges, whatever. And this picture is black goop that you're looking at here is just slop in the bottom of his airbox. Like it looks like a rat lived in there maybe or something because he's riding it so much. And then there's another picture here. This is his air filter that he pulled out of that thing. And he wonders why it is not running good. But he said, I told him to put some Chevron Techron in the fuel because that stuff's probably some of the best that I've seen, if not the best at kind of cleaning out stuff before you get into it. And I told him that he could probably just pull a fuel screw out of the carburetor, a fuel or an air screw out of the carburetor. It was like, hey, pull that out and then just squirt some carburetor cleaner and stuff into that orifice because that's generally the ones that cause the problems. We're kind of trying to do it without having to tear things apart, but evidently he tore things apart. Don't really know the full story, but he sent me a picture of that filter, and it's like, well, why wasn't that the first thing you checked? Because I'm pretty sure getting that filter is easier than getting to the other thing. So he said he was riding along, and it was kind of running, and a big puff of smoke came out. That's probably where the piece of the filter went through, and then it was intermittently idling. So good on you, George, for asking questions before their time. So if you let your bike sit for a while, these days, depending on what you oiled your filter with, or there may not be in very good things. And when my bikes, I have a couple that sit for a few years and stuff, they always get a new filter. It's just they dry out, especially with some of the filter oils that I use. The oils are hard on the stuff. So. And Remove Trump can't believe that Jerry is still alive. I don't think Jerry can believe that Jerry is still alive. So, but he is. And you should check out check out some of the stuff they're doing with the Motor World 2 things. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's on the signing tour for that. He's probably signing the VHS copies that they're selling of that. Yabba Dabba Do 72. has a question. 2013 WR450 was going along and the fun just stopped. Ended up being a fried lean angle sensor. I have a 5-volt DC signal and ground and no signal out to the ECU. Has anybody dealt with this? I'm sure somebody has. So you figured it out. You were able to, or did we try to diagnose this before? So let me know because I kind of remember, and I remember talking about something like this, and I mentioned there was somebody that was having a starting problem with their bike, and I mentioned lean angle sensor. I thought it was on a European bike, but I might be wrong. Remember, I don't remember anything I say in the show, so, or at least the specifics. I say the same thing over and over again. I can tell you how to make your bike faster. I can tell you how to be a better rider. And I can recommend a pretty good tequila. This is actually pretty good beer. This is brewed by one of the brewers down in. It's like a kind of a blonde. It's a really nice. Yep. So. Thank you, Johnny Campbell. I'm sure I'll get more later. Actually. Okay. No, I've never asked. Okay. Well, I know we mentioned it to somebody in the past. So is it running is my question. So right now it's running. And how did you find that out? Was it a fault code that came through? But 2013 wouldn't have any sort of an instrument on that. I think you could do power tuner back then, but it was the old style one that plugged in. And I don't remember exactly how those things read fault codes. I'm sure a dealer would have something like that. 5-volt ground and no signal out to the ECU. So, yeah. I want to know, do you put a lean angle sensor? So, lean angle sensor would be a tip over sensor. I'm kind of guessing because we don't really deal with lean angle that much. But yeah, it would kind of be. It's made to shut the bike off because fuel injected bikes will run for a long time when they're laid over until it blinked, it would not run. So, but did you get a new one and make it run again? Because okay, good. He says yes. So I would be kind of curious about how it failed or why it failed. Because generally there's some sort of a the ones that I've seen torn apart. It's like some sort of a ball sort of thing, or there's a piece of metal that can slide different directions, and when it goes all the way off to the side, which you have to lean it pretty far over to get it to do, it goes and touches, and it's not like an instant kill button. It actually activates. It activates a timer. So if you pick it up quickly, I would cut that other one apart and actually see why it failed. I'd be really I mean, this is what I do. I cut things apart. I've got like 4 fuel pumps that I've sawed in half just recently because I'm trying to become more educated on why fuel pumps are failing, and I have a pretty good idea. And I have a solution. My good buddy Chris Reel gifted me a long time back with some stuff that he calls Super Lube or Real Slick. His name's Chris Reel. It's called Real Slick, and it's this stuff, and I've used it on my Whirlybirds in here that used to squeak. I put it on like 4 years ago. They don't squeak anymore. I just put it on a swamp cooler motor that I was having some issues with, and it fixed it. So I called him. I said, "Hey, how would this work on fuel pumps? Because they're submerged in gas. You know, they're in there, and is the gas enough of a we call it a, I'm trying to think of the word, solvent is what we call it." But he was thinking that this stuff, if you coated it, before it went in the fuel and let it sit for a while, it might impregnate the metal enough to, maybe eliminate some of the problems, because I'm noticing the problems. It's not the worn. It's not like a lot of people are saying it's the contacts that are worn out and stuff. What I'm seeing is the water in the fuel, and some of the bad fuel is actually rusting certain parts and then causing corrosion and then causing some parts to gum up just like they do. And when it's allowed to sit for a long time, things go bad. But the interesting one that I had was where I cut it apart. It was working fine for 4 days and just stopped. But when I cut it up open, you could see where there'd been some rust and there was a lot of water inside of it. So, yeah, Yabba Dabba Doo 72 says it's a pendulum sensor, correct? And he said it scorched its circuit board, which is, that is really interesting. Was there any sign of moisture in there, or I'm trying to think of, or are you tipping over so much that you overheated it? Not waiting on a Yamaha adapter for my OBD2 scanner. When I get it, I will reach out again if I need to. Right now, that's all I got. Yeah, I don't know what could cause that to go bad. Like some voltage in there doing some weird things. I mean, maybe it's just one of those weird things that over time, that thing is 10 years old now. And especially, I don't know where you're located. Sometimes in moist environments, things like that happen. You never know. Ohio Dual Sports has a carb issue. First startup, I have to take off the choke immediately. Then I have to wait several minutes of idle before I can open the throttle past 1/8 of a turn, else it stalls. Once it's hot, it's all good. Any tips? Okay, so tell me, please, what bike it's on, so I can have an idea. And then choke, I'm suspecting that that's a carbureted bike, but I don't know until you tell me what it is. But you'd say it's a carb, so that's why I'm not going with fuel injection. But and then where are you doing this and what temperature is it? So I'm going to go by your name, Ohio Dual Sports. So hopefully it's Ohio. I think it's. And is this take the choke off immediately? Is this in the winter or is this in the summer or it's all the time? Because there could be a lot of stuff going on in there. And then my question about it, when you're opening the throttle up, is it, and I don't know if you'll be able to describe this or not, is it stalling because it's lean or is it stalling because it's too rich? Because if you have to turn the choke off immediately, that indicates that maybe it's too rich. Or if you don't take the choke off, does it continue to run and just idle really high, or does it like bog down and load up and stop? So got a couple questions there. And then I can probably start going down the path of diagnosing that particular problem. And then Trent Zimmerson, where does the water in the fuel pump come from? Low fuel level. So the water typically, if you get bad gas, it's in the gas. It's already in there. Sometimes you're pulling off the bottom of the tank, or you're emptying out your gas jug, or you're siphoning it out of a drum, whatever. So water could already be there, but with ethanol especially, there's already a certain amount of water that's actually absorbed in to the ethanol. The ethanol is holding the water. It's what it does to a certain point. And in fact, if you ever want to get the ethanol out of your gas, you pour water into it. And then when it gets it'll be cloudy. And then when it can't take it anymore, it all falls out. And then it goes to the bottom. So it's kind of in there. And I don't know, I'm not a chemist. I don't even play one on this show. But so the water's everywhere in the gas, and maybe just when that fuel pump stops or the bike sits, because it's kind of in its own chamber, the water will separate, especially in high moisture content areas and stuff. The water will actually, just like it does when you pour water into the gas can and you can watch it, murk up and then separate. It does that inside of the fuel pump, and a lot of times that water takes other stuff with it, and it's like a goo or a gel. The water isn't as pure as you would think it is. It removes other stuff from the gas or some other contaminants in there, and then it goes in there. So the low fuel level can contribute to this, because if there's more air, especially moist air inside of the tank, then the moisture will get absorbed into the gas. The ethanol will suck it up, and it'll kind of carry it around in there. So that's why they say it's better to kind of store your bike with a larger fuel load in it, so there's less air inside of it if it is ethanol fuel in this. So yeah, it's just kind of in there. But yeah, how do you get rid of it? Yeah, you're not going to get rid of it. But the ethanol, for where there is moisture, the ethanol is not bad until it's horrible. So there we go. And he doesn't know either. He's up in Big Bear. So if you're at altitude, I'm pretty sure your bike would be jetted kind of rich, and so you would not necessarily need the choke as much. So the choke is going to have more effect because you have less air up there at higher elevation. So that would be why you'd have to take the choke off immediately. I would suspect that again, what bike are we talking about? I would suspect that the bike is a bike that is jetted lean, maybe a dual sport bike or, a street bike. Oh, here we go. It's a Chinese Zhongzhen 250 air-cooled 2-valve. Well, there we go. They don't jet bikes in China. They just put a carburetor on it that they got from the Zhongzhen supplier, who just got done with his run of washer machines, and now he's making carburetors. And they put something that looks like a jet that has a number on it that may or may not be the size of the hole that's in the jet. But I think the pilot is too rich and the needle may be too lean. Guessing why it's throttle after it's hot. I'm just laughing because I've mostly seen it on the mini bikes, the Chinese mini bikes that we used to ride and goof around with. And it was just, and even this day, you can buy a knockoff carburetor that looks like a high-end Kian or Mikuni, and you open it up, and believe it or not, the bodies are actually, get the Tibet jetting spec is what the chat's telling you. The bodies actually are okay, because I know there's some guys out there that actually buy the Chinese bodies and then rebuild them with the we'll call it the Japanese brass, put the good parts in there. So, yeah, you're going to have to do some jetting for that. If the choke is like a kind of pull on a 2 detent choke, maybe that's not going to work out so hot for you. And there's generally a jet associated with the choke, and that can also be changed. So you could technically lean that thing out so that the choke is more like what it's supposed to be. But the fact that it gets the bike started, if the pilot were rich, but because the pilot is rich so that it idles, that makes sense. And the needle too lean, so you have a good grasp of what's kind of going on. If the pilot is so rich, I mean, the problem is you're going to have to, at some point, you're going to have to figure out that choke thing so that you could just turn the choke and leave it on. Although ideally you shouldn't have to, when it's 79 degrees outside, you shouldn't have to use choke. You shouldn't really have to use choke until it gets down like 40, somewhere around there. So I think you're on the right thing. I would pull those jets out and see if you can match them to something, to see if it's close, and if the needle clip does have positions on it so you can change it. That would be helpful. Maybe, like I say, kind of richen that thing up, and then remember that the needle and the main jet have a symbiotic relationship. So does the nozzle, but I don't know that they would actually have changeable or adjustable nozzles. And sometimes the slide angle of the slide plays an effect in that. And then also be leery of kind of what's upstream of that. Some of those bikes for sound and stuff have some obstructions inside of the intake that make it difficult for on startup for them to get a good flow. And so in the beginning it's really difficult until that stuff starts working. So hey, hopefully Ohio Dual Sports from Big Bear. Hopefully we kind of help you out. And I found like some of those bikes, there's pretty good owners forums and groups that oftentimes, everybody's having this problem, and then somebody will come up with the solution. Hey, buy this and get that part for it and whatever. Yeah. So, okay. So needle have to be shimmed, no clip, and the choke levers on the handlebar. So maybe see if you can. So if you have the choke on the handlebar, if you're really delicate with it, remember that you can use that as a meter to kind of determine where the problem is. So if instead of full choke, you just kind of give it a little bit of choke, and then see if that allows it to open up the needle, then you know, hey, or open the throttle up. They go, okay, yeah, that for sure it's a little bit lean here. So yeah, it should give you some stuff to play with until the next amazing episode, where hopefully you will come back and you will tell us that I was completely wrong, and you will tell us how you fixed it so that our viewers can be a little bit smarter. Again, big shout out to Yamaha. So Ohio Dual Sports, you should have bought a Yamaha. It wouldn't have been a problem. I'll just tell you that right now. We have companies like Fasst Company, Bulletproof Designs, DDC Sprockets has helped us out. Double Take Mirrors. Man, how about all the guys that got that 50% off a Chirby's code from us the last time I had that discount code? How was that? Pretty cool of a Chirby's to kind of set you guys up with that. And I think they pretty much sold out of those stands. So good on you for taking advantage of that and, showing them we have a little bit of legs. Now I just need to get them to send the bags of cash over to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday so we can continue to keep doing this for free. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do it like my OnlyFans account, where I put everything behind a pay window and then I do it naked. And I don't want to send. And the Jerry Bernardo poem, When? It's a chanda. Oh, I know it's a chanda. The Jerry Bernardo poem. Is that what you're waiting for, Victor? Odele. I could read something from Written in Scars. I think there would be a good way to. My throat feels like it needs something to be done to it. There's one called Dirt here. I don't know if I read that one before. It looks like one I would have read before, but there's also one here called it says Step Right Up. Let's see. I got to be careful because I'm going to read Dirt. There's enough words where I think I can actually get through it without doing it. I will read, but this is a segment. This is called the Fuck You, Jimmy doesn't know how to read poetry section of the show. And where I try my best to read Jerry's poetry. And if you pay me enough, you can, because I think on the Facebook, YouTubes, you can make a donation to this show right now. If you pay me enough, I won't read it. That's how we go. But otherwise, your ears are gonna burn, and you might have a bad dream tonight. So we'll see how it works. Let's see. Yabba Abadoo says that's like a normal problem on an XR250s. Got to warm up. If you richen it up, it just runs hotter. All those China carbs are okay, actually. Put one on my bike. Put one on an older KTM. Friend, put one on an older KTM 300. Well, they're okay if you know how to jet. Like I said, the castings and stuff, but good God, if you can get two jets that are the same number and the same size. They might be getting better because a lot of that stuff is getting better. He put one on his KTM 300 and it fixed a long headache he was having. Okay. What was his long headache? Because a lot of times the long headaches with a carburetor are some internal passage clogged up, and all you need is an ultrasonic cleaner, and that will fix it a lot of times. So, okay, I'm gonna read Jerry's poem, and if more things come in the chat, that'll be good. I can't believe that I've gone an hour and 45 minutes without really having any plans to do something like that. So tonight, from Written in Scars by Jerry Bernardo, we have a poem called Dirt.
Dirt. There was no one there to take my picture in perfect light while I kicked at the dirt. No movie poster for me, strolling away from a ball of flames. No one was there.
Okay, so that one's going to take some decompression. So, thank you everybody for joining in. Again, thanks to our amazing sponsors. We're getting more of them every day because this is the world's best podcast where you can have motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions answered at your convenience. I only look at reference manuals 1 out of 10 times, and I hardly use any of my brain cells that I have, all 2 of them. So, okay. Next week, I don't have a plan. I don't know. There should be a show next week unless I decide to really go riding someplace. Maybe I'll go up to that Giant Loop rally. Who knows? And when I was talking about working on tractors, I was not talking about Husabergs. Have another shot. Wish Mark was around here to tell me what kind of tequila he was drinking. I was drinking the Los Sundays Blanco, which is actually really good. I'm actually going to have a little bit more because I kind of changed my palate there with the Reposado. And I'm going to take a little snap of this guy. Thank you to, let's see. Oh, what else did I do? Hey, I fixed another KTM 500, by the way. That wasn't mine. A friend of mine, he was getting that little pool of oil in the airbox, and he's riding at kind of higher speeds, dual sport / rally style stuff. And we pulled the cam out and replaced the bearing, the small bearing on the back of the cam, and the seal, and it stopped it. It fixed it. And he wanted to tear the whole motor apart because he was worried about like blow-by and rings and all this other stuff. And I said, let's just do this one thing and see if it works. Like I always say, one thing at a time. So cheers, everybody. With that, we will see you out on the trail, and I'm going to shut this program down and see you next time.